What's up, everybody? Shawn here with another Live to Roll for you. We're hanging out with awesome guests today. Tomas Woods. We'll get into what he does and let him do some properly introduce himself. 'Cause I don't think any of us can do him justice on how much this kid has done. So yeah, I'm Shawn Fluke. I'm a C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident 21 years ago. And then Bobby, why don't you go?
Yeah, yeah. Let's go to the best of the rest. So, hey, I'm Bobby Rowan, C5, C6 quadriplegic of 36 years, and living here in Southern California. But enough about me. Let's go to Tom, and then we got Thomas. But take it away, Tom.
Well, my name is Thomas Conaway too.
Ah,
That's
now
not
you now
Thomas,
you want to be that.
but I'm not spelled the cool way. I got a weird H in there that's silent for some reason. But in any event, I'm a C5, C6, or I guess C6B quadriplegic for the last 27, going on 28 years, coming at you from sunny Southern California, and coming at us pretty late from over in the UK. We have an awesome guest on today. I believe you said it just a moment ago. Two-time world WCMX champion, Thomas. What's up, man? Thank you so much for coming and joining us and hanging out.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, my name's Tomas Woods. I'm two-time WCMX world champion. I'm 16 years old. I got a condition
16. Oh
called
my
EDS.
God.
And if you've not seen me on Instagram or heard about me, I normally do tricks in the skate park in a wheelchair. I get to travel about the world doing some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
That's so
definitely.
awesome. He's
Yep.
carving out a little bit of time and staying up late in the UK to hang out with us at Live to Roll. So thank you again for that, dude. And yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
So I guess we should maybe dive in. Tell us a little bit about your disability to start.
Yeah, so I got a condition. It's called EDS. It's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it essentially means all the connective tissue, so what holds your joints together, are pretty stretchy, and they're a bit useless. It mainly affects my lower limbs, which is the reason I use a chair, and mainly means that your joints can dislocate really easily and cause obviously a lot of pain and instability.
We love our EDS fam. We've had a couple other folks on here with EDS, and we talked about it a lot. It's kind of a very similar like mobility disorder overlap with like wheelchairs and stuff and spinal cord injuries. So we are always out here, supporting our EDS fam too. So how long has it affected you? Most of your life? Is it something that you've been dealing with forever, or more later, like as you got older?
Yeah, it's something I've had. Obviously, I was born with it, and then I've had symptoms since I was a kid, but didn't really. My parents didn't really know what it was until it started to get worse in like 2017, 2018 maybe, and then by 2019, I first started using a chair part time.
Okay.
Wow. And and,
How's it
and
been? Go ahead,
go
Bob.
ahead.
No,
No,
you go,
that's all
Bob.
right. I was just going to ask. So I know that EDS, there's a lot of those who have to have treatment to keep up their energy levels, of everything like that. Are you one of those that have to do the treatment every other day? It's your Red Bull. Maybe your sponsor. I'm not talking about your sponsor, but good
Sure.
plug. Are you one of those that have to get that cocktail dish to help up with their energy, or is that something that's going to have to come by later in life, probably?
Maybe in the future. I'm not sure. I don't really get any support from the NHS here in the UK with it,
Mm.
which is one of the main reasons why I started using a chair pretty early on. Was because they didn't really want to. The system's a bit lacking around this sort of stuff, and then my joints deteriorated quite badly. But right now, energy level wise, get a few Red Bulls in me. I'm only 16. I'm doing okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. No, you don't get tired. Yeah, wait until you hit that 30 mark, and then you can say, "Yeah, I feel a little tired today." But I know you're not going to hit it for a while, so we can give you the bird right now and move on our merry little way of us old geezers here.
What got you
14 years.
What got you into WCMX? How'd you get involved with that?
Uh,
How'd you first get started?
yeah, I saw a video on YouTube. And then I just started watching more and more and more. Spent, nights and nights and nights just on YouTube, on Instagram, just Googling about it, trying to find out as much information. And I emailed my local skate park, Greystone Action Sports in Manchester, and I said, is this something I can even try? And they said, yeah. In fact, there was going to be an event on where a rider who was here in the UK was coming down to do some filming, and they invited me to come down and join, and started riding, and that was in January of 2020. And then October of that year, well, in the UK, so we had COVID, obviously, but we locked down completely for like 7 months, where we weren't basically allowed to leave the house. And so I didn't start riding. I rode in January, and I didn't start riding again until like July. And then in July, I really started picking it up. Really enjoyed it. Basically, didn't leave a skate park. And then I went in October. There was an online competition where everybody could film videos from their local and upload them as a part of the online world championships. And I entered and ended up coming fourth in the intermediate division, which was an entire division above the person who was highest in the UK at the time for men.
And, within so were you like all of us that we first heard, saw Aaron and he did the first backflip? Were you like us, not that the three of us are not going to go and start doing what you're doing or what Aaron did, but were you like us? I mean, we started seeing that you can get into that skate park and do skate verbs because of Aaron. Is that how you guys started?
Yeah, he was definitely one of the people that I saw, and obviously, been around for so long and done some crazy stuff. And then also on like the technical side, looking at people like Jonathan Stark. I think he's called Fatboy on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I follow him.
And yeah, he's a great guy, and so many other people as well who aren't necessarily doing the mega ramp stuff, but they're technical riding and the influences from like skateboard culture and stuff like that. That's really appealed to me as well. Seeing the technical challenges of it, I thought was really, really interesting and cool. And sometimes, like for me, when I've ridden mega ramps and stuff, it's fun. You go quick, but it's not like technically challenging. And I think that's the stuff that I really enjoy, is trying to figure out the difficult the different like technical stuff. So for me, like seeing riders like that really influenced me.
That's always been my favorite part of like skateboarding and stuff too. It's like someone like Rodney Mullen, who's like just like peak technical skater. It's not doing big jumps or like even like bowls or ramps or anything. It's just like very technically balancing and like spinning and like doing really cool, crazy stuff. So I think that's awesome, and that's honestly like something a lot different than what I normally see or have seen from WCMX. Is like a lot of the big jumps and like dropping down into the bowls and stuff, and not so much like technical things. So I think that's super cool.
Yeah, and definitely, and then obviously at like the professional level and in comp runs, it's merging the two, figuring out ways to put technical tricks into bigger, more park tricks, transition tricks, and stuff like that, and that makes it even harder and even more fun.
So how
Did you?
have you? I was gonna say,
No,
because
go on.
you got fourth in your very first competition that you like entered with that. And what year was that? You said 2021.
That was 2020,
That's
October 2020.
And then how'd you progress through? Have you competed every year since?
In 2021, there wasn't a competition because of COVID. So I didn't compete then. And then the next competition would have been in 2022 in Switzerland. And I came fourth in the pro men's by that point. So I'd gone up to the next division. And then from there, the next comp was the weekend after of that summer, which was in Germany, in a small town called Fusen. It was kind of on the Austrian border. And I came third in that. And then after that would have been in Fontana, obviously in California.
Yeah.
And I came fourth in the men's pro there against, Aaron, Tony Thogmartin, David Labuza, all the guys who were like top level in the sport. And then the year after was La Quinta in Coachella Valley. And that's where I won,
Nice.
which I certainly wasn't expecting. When the guy who does all the announcing and stuff and the commentating is a guy called Victor Nelson. And when he announced it, he was stood up at the front, and they always announce like the top three first. And he announced third, which was David Labuza. And I heard that, because I thought there's no chance I'm getting a second or first. So when he announced third, I thought, I've come fourth again. I've not gone back, but at least I've stayed level. And then he said second, which was Tony Thug Martin. And then he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, your new world champion." And people started screaming my name. I was like, "What?" And then he said Tomas Woods. And I was like, things I can't say on a live stream.
You can say it, dude. You can say it. Say it all you want, baby. You fucking won.
I freaked the fuck out. I was like, "Holy shit!" I started, I hugged my coach. I hugged my mum. I walked up to the front. Victor, I think it was Victor, gave me the bag and everything and the trophy. And I went to the side, and I can't remember who it was. One of the guys who was up there went, no, you won. You need to go in the middle. I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." And I moved around into the front, and everybody's taking pictures and stuff. And then, yeah, it was absolutely insane. And then we went to In-N-Out to celebrate.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah,
nice. California style, baby.
Oh yeah. No, he's absolutely insane.
A quick question. When you were talking a little bit earlier, so when it comes to WCMX, is it just one style, or do they have it like when we see on X Games, like where they have vert ramp and then they have street? Is it, and then is it different ones when it comes? Yeah, or mega ramp, and we've all seen what Aaron has done on mega ramp, which is how that guy is. Can spit out some words sometimes when he crashes. It's amazing to me. But as much as I love that kid, I grin and go, man, he's got to be feeling it by now. So I mean, are there different categories in WCMX?
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely different styles of riding, and obviously, your sort of mega ramp style is different. But currently, in terms of competitions, it's not split with park and street, mainly for two reasons. One, the numbers would be really difficult to have specific park riders and specific street riders. Most riders are pretty mixed, but also the park you would need to actually make a transition or a park division work would be it's not a common style park, because a traditional standard bowl wouldn't be enough, and you would have to have extra features in there. So I think for right now, it's not something that would probably be possible, but in the future, it could definitely be possible.
And so it seems like what I've seen, two categories, street and what you're doing in the park. Is that correct?
No, that's what he was saying. There's no real street category, I don't think.
No real street.
Well, it's mixed. So most riders obviously do street tricks, so rails, technical things, that sort of stuff. Yeah. But they're normally in a park with transition features, so it's a bit mixed. So something like where the park was in 2023 in La Quinta, or even probably a better example is Fontana in 2022. There's rails and street features, but there's also a bowl there where you can go in, or there's mini ramp features and that sort of stuff. So it's very much mixed.
Yeah, for WCMX, it more breaks down with, because you guys are the chair riders, but there's also a division of adaptive skateboarders, right, that are like amputees and different things that ride skateboards. That's the kind of different divisions as far as, but they're both considered WCMX, right? Or is that not?
No? So adaptive skateboarding is a separate sport.
Oh, okay.
I think it uses the same judges. I believe so. But it's got different rules and a different rule book. So it's like with World WCMX now, which is the sort of, I'm on the board and we run the sort of international standards around the rule book and judging guidelines and that sort of stuff. That only applies to WCMX. And skateboarding will have its own sort of thing as that goes forward.
Okay.
How did you get it? Like, were you into skateboarding or anything like that before your condition, got worse? Like, did you have any kind of inclination for action sports or anything like that until you got into WCMX? I mean, I know you're so young, so I can't imagine that you had too much time, like, before you got into it, since you've already been doing it for 4 or 5 years. But did you like to play around on a skateboard or do anything like that before?
I was pretty terrible, but I tried a bit. I'd been to a few skate parks. I'd ridden skateboards a bit. I was really bad at skateboarding. I rode scooter for a little while. I wasn't much better at that. And then mountain bikes for a bit. I wasn't that good at that either, to be honest. And then I surfed for a little while as well, in Jersey, down the Channel Islands. So I've done bits and bobs, but never like anywhere near this extent.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Thomas,
Interesting.
I would never when the first high school, or I think it was junior high, I did a dance and they said, yeah, don't dance, Bobby. Don't, you're terrible. So after being in a chair, I can dance because nobody could care less about what your moves are. So I'm sure it's the same way. You were like terrible skater, but now, hey, put 2 wheel or 4 wheels underneath me, no problem.
Yeah, but the way seems like Thomas has progressed is pretty incredible to be already 16 and have two world championships.
Yeah.
Because I know the
Thank you.
competition, like you mentioned, Tony Thogmartin, who, like, if people don't know in the chat, is Leah's nephew. So, like, I know,
Oh,
and I've known Tony for a long time, even before I knew Leah. But like, he's good, and I know a lot of the other guys here. It's like, and like that. I don't remember his actual name, Fat Boy. I know from following him on social media, but that dude is really good too, technical. So like, you're competing against some like really high level people, and Aaron. I mean, I know he's kind of stepped back a little bit because he's gotten older and things. I'm sure injuries and things have added up, but like, I mean, you have really, like, you're not competing against nobodies. You're out there like against the top
Yeah,
guys in the world. So
it's a tough competition. I mean, those guys are pushing it. They definitely keep me on my toes. But no, to be honest, it's one of those things where it's like I just really I enjoy riding skate parks, so I just spend all of my time at a skate park, and I have done for past 4 years now. So it's like, yeah, I just ride every single day.
yeah,
A
that's
little
sweet.
bit different from like the WCMX stuff, if you don't mind, like us talking a little bit more about your disability and like coming like transitioning to a wheelchair part time and stuff.
Sure.
Being so young, how was that process for you? Like, did it? I mean, I'm sure there were some struggles that were along the way. Like, did you struggle at all, like mentally? I mean, beyond like the physical stuff. Like, was it an easy-ish transition to, you know, getting more mobility via the wheelchair and stuff? Like, can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, my experience was probably better than some. But it was difficult because obviously I was so young. Because I would have been 10, 11, something like that.
Yeah,
And like all my friends were going like trampoline parks and that kind of faded away. So I lost all my friend group and that sort of stuff. And I'd kind of started the COVID lockdown before the country did. I wasn't leaving the house certainly before I got my chair and that. And then as I got my chair and as COVID lifted and eventually found WCMX and that sort of stuff, and it changed everything a huge amount. I
yeah,
got to go out and hang out with cool people, and that was huge for me.
yeah.
Just getting out of the house was the main thing. Before I got the wheelchair, it was massive, yeah.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we talk about it a lot here on the show. Like I always say, a lot of times, like transition to the chair, a lot of people feel like they're losing their physical identity in a certain sense, now having to rely on this piece of adaptive equipment to get them around. But the doors that it opened, if you can look at the
Yeah,
glass half full and like the opportunities that you're now open to, having the mobility and the independence and the freedom, I think can be, such a huge that like thing once you finally
definitely.
get into it and realize, the doors that it does open.
Definitely, and it was something that I never really looked at the wheelchair or any mobility device as a bad thing. My family never did,
Yeah, yeah,
and it was one of those things where it's like either I'm going to sit at home all day on my computer playing a video game or doing shit all, or I'm going to go out, I'm going to meet people, I'm going to do stuff, and eventually, obviously, go to a skate park.
yeah,
So for me, it was more on like the doctors and that side of like, you shouldn't use a wheelchair. No. We'd rather you sit at home and do nothing.
yeah,
So for me, that was like my family never saw it as a bad thing. It was like, well, hang on, he's at home doing nothing. He's lost all his friends, lost his sort of life. If that brings that opportunity back into play, why wouldn't you take it?
yeah.
So for me, it was never really a bad thing.
What made you go to your first skate park? Was it, I want to go check it out. Can you take me, mom, dad? Or was it, somebody like, hey, you should meet us. Maybe you can do this. I saw it. Or how was your first, experience to do it?
Yeah, well, I'd seen it and I
Two,
was
at
watching on
two.
YouTube and
When you were 2 years old, remember, when you were 2 years old, because nobody won the championship that quick. But yes, go ahead. Sorry, Tony. Thomas, I mean,
you're good. Yeah, so I was watching videos on YouTube of WCMX, and obviously I thought it was sick. Um, so I started telling my parents about it, saying, there's these people in America, and they're going to skate parks. And
I'll blame it on Americans, huh?
yeah. I started telling them about it, and I started showing them on the TV and everything, and they thought it was pretty cool as well. And I think for a little while they were maybe a bit worried about it. But it was my mum who actually emailed the skate park saying, "Can you come and try it?" And they drove me, hour and 10 minutes to Manchester to go and give it a go on a Saturday morning, and to go meet the people that were there doing it. And from there, I think the second I actually got into a skate park, they were happy. They were happy that I was happy. And the skate park in Manchester had a nice cafe, so they could go up and have a coffee. They were happy to sort of leave me be. And yeah, from there, just sort of hit the ball running.
Nice. Love to hear it, Thomas. Thank you.
Shout out all the awesome families too, like the love and the support of, like parents that want to see you succeed can make all the difference in the world. So shout out your mom and dad specifically. Like, that's super awesome that they're so supportive of you. So you mentioned before the show, you have like a team that you travel with, you compete with. Is there like a team component to WCMX, or is it all individual based and you guys just have a team to pool resources and travel together and do competitions together? Like, how does that work?
Well, in the skate park itself, in an actual run, it is just me. I go out there. But certainly on the back end, sort of behind the scenes, there's a huge component. I've seen him in the chat, Tom Finch. He helps me out with all the wheelchair stuff. When I was just out in California a few weeks ago, we were staying with him, and he helps me out with all the wheelchair stuff, and he doesn't get too mad at me when I break it. And he's massive. And then, obviously my family, they've sort of let me go and travel by myself, but for a long time, obviously they were traveling with me. And my coach Ben, we go all over now, and there's him and everybody at Greystone who's helped me out over the years, and just so many people on the back end that have just done huge amounts to make sure I can get to the competition and make sure we can lay down a good run.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
And you must, and not to, but you have to have a team to get you in and out of these pools, or whatever you want to call it, of these when you get down into your ramps and stuff like that. It seems like you got to have a team that's willing to go with you and help you train, because trick after trick of trying something, they gotta. I was looking at your Instagram earlier today, and seeing that some of your volunteers helping you get a good push so you can get up there and do a 360 in the air. And my next question is, how's your body feeling? But it takes a team like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the skate park where we mainly train in the UK is Greystone in Manchester, and that park's getting more and more accessible as time goes on, and we're adding stuff to it to make it more accessible. But obviously, a bowl is a bowl, and there is obviously sort of an inherently inaccessible aspect of it. But me and Ben, my coach, we figured out I can get myself out of quite a lot now. We figured out techniques of how to do that, whether it's learning how to sort of flow the park better to be able to build the speed to get out, or whether it's sort of getting enough speed to get close to the top of the quarter and then like sort of popping out onto my knees almost. And then me and Ben now have worked out, there's ways where he can push me out of normally like 8-foot quarter sometimes. They get pretty tall, and so he's happy that I don't have too much food. So I'm trying to keep light for him. But we've figured out ways now where we can get out of just about any skate park, and sort of training them efficiently without wasting too much energy, sort of getting from A to B. And me and Ben, we work together every day now, so we're sort of on it. And he's fantastic.
He does. Ben, I got to meet him out here too when you guys were out here. He was super cool, super nice. He was the one that, like Tony made sure he was the one helping me when I was stupid enough to try to sit in one of those chairs for a minute and get rolled around. But he didn't know. He was super great and helpful and supportive, and like that guy was really cool. Do you guys have anybody? Does he just like coach and train with you, or do you guys have any others? Like, does he help others, or is that just he's kind of just your crew?
Well, he is like his main thing for coaching is me. But he's actually he's a manager now at Greystone. So he runs when he's not coaching me, he's running the skate park, and then we run a lot of community stuff together. So when we were there at Triumph, things like that, the new foundation was starting in the States, and the stuff we already do in the UK. So we're down in Bristol next weekend, and we'll be there coaching that together. So that's something that we travel all over and get to do that stuff. And yeah, he's absolutely fantastic, Ben. And compared to me, he's really old. He's 19. And and no, he's a good lad.
No, that's cool. Yeah. That's great to have a nice crew and team like that, especially when you're traveling out here and stuff. And I know Tom Finch put in the chat that you give him faith in the younger generation, and he said that before. I know he said he thinks very highly of you. I know that. So that's cool just to have great support and stuff. And are you going to be spending any more time? I know you were out here. You said 5.5 weeks just recently. When's your next trip coming out to the U.S. again to do a tour thing?
To the US that's booked will be this Christmas. We're coming out to do some work with the foundation and sort of get stuff set up there. We're hoping we may be able to come out a bit earlier, maybe in October, and go over to see the guys in New Orleans, and hopefully earlier. But the big thing this year is the World Championships in Switzerland. And Switzerland's a pretty expensive country, so that's taking most of the budget. So unfortunately, we're not coming out to the States as much as we'd like. But it should still be a good trip.
Well, I'm sure we have some viewers going, okay, he's over the pond right now. When is he coming back to the States? But behind you, we see, Texas. You got your belt buckle. You got your guitar. So tell us a little bit about that. Most of our people in our chat might be going, hey, is he in Texas or is he over the pond? Tell us a little bit about that.
I've got so much stuff in here now. I've been collecting it over the years. I got the Texas flag. I got down there of a rope for roping because I've been learning to rope, and I got a road sign behind me from Arizona, and then that white sign actually up there is pretty cool. I only got that recently. It was my granddad's, and it was from the inauguration for I think Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965.
Wow!
And it was an actual road sign that he took. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Basically stole.
Something like that. Yeah. I think
it's a different time, Hey, like you could make back then.
Tomato.
But yeah, I mean, I've absolutely fallen in love with America. I love it. It's a fantastic place, especially Texas. And my folks out there, we now have a house, and yeah, I just love being out there as much as possible. Just out in the country and stuff, and yeah, it's great.
Is there more skating opportunities where you're at compared to America?
Oh, there's an unbelievable amount of more opportunities in America, and I talk to Americans about this a lot, and it kind of sounds like a sort of cliche, like people, the American dream and that sort of stuff, and it's like, but to me, it's like, dude, it's huge. You talk to people in America, and nobody's passionate. Nobody wants to push stuff. Nobody wants to grow. But in America, there's so many people who are just on it, who want to do stuff, who want to be successful, and it's fantastic. I mean, in the week that we decided we were going to start foundation in the States, I met like 5-8 people just about who were like, I run this thing, or I do this, or we'd love to support in this way, or let me give you a card, let me do this, and like it's random people in coffee shops, or there was a guy in the hat shaping bar in Cavender's. Like there's just people about, and everybody wants to do something, and like for me, it's a fantastic environment because it's like when you want to do stuff, you want to be around other people who do, because it just gives you that much more motivation to just keep going. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't know that we have so many more passion, I guess you might see, but you're seeing it. It's through your eyes. I mean, I'm sure there's people back there going, "Hey, dude, I got passion." Thomas, give me a break. But yeah, you're
Well, it
right. So,
also like started here in the States too. So I think that maybe there's a little bit more of a foundation or a base here for
yeah,
organized
for your
competition, practice
Mm,
facilities, equipment, maybe like, just people have been seeing it a little bit more here. I mean, that's not so much a
yeah.
big deal these days with the internet and social media. Like things can pretty much be seen anywhere around the world, just like I'm sure how you came across it. But
mm.
I mean, I remember watching Aaron like do like a backflip for the first time like on nitro circuits or something like 10, 15 years ago. I was like, oh my god. But I wanted to ask you, Thomas, how is it on your body physically? Is it, I mean, I would imagine it's pretty brutal, or it can be pretty brutal. And I mean, I know
It
you're a
can
young
be.
guy and probably not thinking or feeling about it too much, but have you dealt with any injury? Like, how is it? Like, do you get, pretty roughed up, like doing it, or do you stay relatively healthy in the midst of it all the
Yeah,
time?
well, I mean, obviously, with action sports, certainly at the sort of professional level, injury is sort of part of the territory. It's kind of gonna happen eventually, but we take safety very seriously. So I wear a full face helmet. I wear elbow pads, knee pads, gloves. The lot. And when we need to, we'll bring out spotting if it's a trick or sometimes crash mats. So if we do
Yeah.
fall, it's not going to hurt too bad. But eventually injury is going to happen, and I've done a few things over the years. The most annoying one is I got skier's thumb, which is like the ligament or the tendon or whatever in your thumb. And I was pushing. It was nothing cool. I was warming up and I was pushing, and it was on my old chair. And there was a bar, like the front bar of the frame that comes out, and I'd pushed down the push rim, and my thumb just got caught and went backwards. And I did something to the ligament or the tendon. I can't remember now, and that one was really annoying because she couldn't push like
What'd
very
you call
well for a while.
Thomas? What'd you call that injury?
Oh,
Use them?
skiers them, I think they called it.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I think
god,
that's
that
what it's
is
called.
great. I got to use that for everything now. I got a skiers thing, Come on, let's go.
um,
Does your condition, like the EDS, like you know, are your joints more vulnerable to things like that? Like I know that,
Definitely can
like
be.
that's, yeah,
Yeah, definitely can be. It's like my shoulders are probably like the main risk. Because obviously they're like the most exposed when I'm riding. But it is one of those things where we try to, especially now, like me and Ben are so dialed with our training, we can usually avoid it. But when
yeah,
I first started riding because when I first started riding, and I wasn't riding with Ben at the time, I was learning sort of all my techniques and tricks and stuff by watching videos on Instagram and trying to like re-engineer it. So at that time, we certainly weren't using the same sort of precautions.
yeah.
But now I don't get injured that much. Knock on wood. But
Yeah, no
No,
kidding.
for sure, for sure, for sure.
Um, does it, your EDS, does it hinder you from any tricks? Like, man, because I mean, for the three of us, we're quadriplegics, and there could be something where the three of us like can halfway do it, but because of maybe like the lack of a muscle doesn't allow us to. Is that the same for you? Do you have any of those in your, tricks? You're like, I know it's part of my disability, and I got to figure a way around that.
not necessarily from the EDS, but I have like it's an upper body muscle weakness, but it's lopsided. So like my left side of my body isn't as strong as my right.
Mhm.
Um,
It's like
and
us.
that causes obviously a hindrance on certain tricks like so my right side, so doing tricks on my right, I'm a standard, so I kick turns to the right, I do hand plants to the right, laybacks to the right, that sort of stuff.
Mm.
So to do them what you'd call oppo, so doing them left, I really struggle with, not just because obviously it's your oppo, it's never going to be as nice as your main, but with that it does make it a lot more difficult to do a lot of those tricks.
Yeah.
But nothing really from the EDS per se.
You would not be a good NASCAR driver because they always have to turn right.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, left.
do
They have to turn left.
Left,
They have to
yeah.
turn left.
I say, isn't it?
Right, it's left. I got
um,
it right.
how's your travel experience been? I mean, I'm sure it's awesome to be so young, traveling the world, like seeing so many different places, getting ready to go to Switzerland and stuff. I'm sure you've already seen like so much and done so much, but the travel experience been with your wheelchairs, with your equipment and stuff? Has it been mostly positive? Is it difficult? Like, is it something that you like dread or something you really don't mind too much?
It's very much like a double-edged sword. So I've been learning to fly. I've not been in a little while just 'cause I've been so busy, but I was learning to fly down in London. And I love aviation. Where I live here in Preston, the UK's biggest like aerospace defense company has like used to have 3 sites, now only 2. And like a lot of people around here working it. And you know, my dad used to work there, so every morning we'd drop him off, and there'd be Harriers flying and stuff. And so aviation's been like huge for me. So when I first started to travel, it was massive. I was like super excited, and now I've sort of, because of everything that happened, I've kind of lost that love a little for actually flying. Because unfortunately, you know, like I love flying, but BA they make it tough sometimes. I lost 2 chairs.
Yeah, Tom was just saying that in the chat. You lost 2 chairs.
Yeah.
Completely, like never saw him again.
Were they like your
no.
chairs or competition chairs too? Like,
Yeah, they were WCMX chairs,
Okay.
and we got them both back, and then they broke one, and Tom got a nice check from BA for that. But yeah, no, it's really annoying. The main thing is not necessarily the chairs, because I've flown 2 to 3 times a year for the past few years, and they've only lost it twice and broke it once. So the track record's not quite that bad. The main issue is the actual like.
Bad. No, it sounds bad, Thomas. Sorry. If you said 100 and they lost it a couple times, yeah, but you're like, a few times that I have, and they lost like 2. No, I think the track record's not that great. Sorry, bud.
No, you're good.
Well,
the worst part for me is.
I was just say better luck coming up here, but go ahead, Thomas. Sorry.
Yeah. The worst part is probably the actual like experience in the airport with the like assistance crews and that sort of stuff. They never seem to show up, and then you either late for a flight, you almost miss a flight, you can't get off a flight, and that's where the main issue comes. Like flying with BA, the staff, the actual air crew, they're like always proper sound, and they'll help out in any way they can. So we've had it a few times where the assistance team with the L chair just haven't shown up, and I've gone, right, screw it. Hopped on the plane and gone, I know you guys have an onboard L chair. BA's policy is that the crew aren't allowed to use it on the ground, but they are more than able to fold it and leave it. And if I so happen to hop into it and grab the seats along the aisle and pull my way down to my seat, there's no reason they can't do that. So we've done that a few times now, where you know Ben's grabbed the bags and I've hopped in that and made my way down, and then on the twin aisle aircraft, my competition chair can actually fit in the onboard locker. So when we got to, we'll throw that in the locker, put the wheels in the locker at the back, and I'll pull my way down and get to the seat. And we've done that a few times, especially at Heathrow. At Heathrow, they're not the best. But like in Austin in Texas, like those boys are on it. They're always really good, and they're definitely getting better. I've seen, but it makes the experience very stressful.
how do you fare comfort wise on longer flights, like coming out to California from the UK or something? Like how do you do on like a long, 10, 11 hour flight like that?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I just try and get to sleep and get there as quick as possible. It's not too bad. The most annoying part about actually being on the aircraft is when you need to go to the toilet. When you've got to use the arm chair, because you got to press that call bell, and then nobody's walking down the aisle, and then it's like, I need to go to the bloody loo, mate. Can you walk down? And I've had it a few times where like nobody's walked past for half an hour, and you've pressed the button and you're waiting, and Ben's had to get up and go and find somebody to be like, yo, can you get this arm chair sorted for me, mate? But it's not too bad, and you get on board. They offer you some alcohol, you knock a bit back, try and get to sleep. But
16-year-old guy, let's go, man.
Hey, you're allowed to drink at 16 in the UK, I think, so it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Anybody listening here on YouTube,
parent or guardian's happy, then you're allowed to. So
there you go.
They offer you the vodka, you don't say no. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's not too bad. And we always try to break it up, so we'll have a connection normally. So like when we came out to California this last time, we flew through Phoenix. So it's not too bad. That only like what, 10.5 hours, something like that. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like 10.5 hours, and then like an hour and a half or an hour, because the Phoenix to LA is quick. That's like...
Yeah, well we fly to Bakersfield.
Oh, okay. Right, because
Tom.
Tom's up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can normally what we did on this last time actually is we had a night in Phoenix, and then flew out the next morning.
Cool.
So that wasn't too bad.
Tom might laugh at this in the chat, but Bakersfield is a crop duster. That's where you land. It's, not much out there except, desert and hot air. That's all that's out there in Bakersfield. So it's a crop duster airport. So
we love our country Bakersfield fam. Now,
also, I was just gonna say
go ahead.
real quick. I also have some of your pictures that you had on that drive you sent me. I can show those as you're talking. I didn't want to distract you while you were talking. So if that's okay with you, I was like, I did load them up. I got them all in here.
Yeah,
ready. So if you want, we can still keep talking, but I can show those.
Yeah.
If you want to stop on any, I'll just kind of slide through a few of them. But there are some pretty cool pics of some of your skate parks.
Also, during some of the photos we might show, when watching your Instagram, I want to know how this trick is similar to skateboarding. They do look similar, but maybe you can explain some of that and the type you might be doing in that photo.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, this looks like just a drop in.
That's a
I don't
drop
have it
in.
in a particular order, but
That was in Füssen in Germany.
okay. And how big of a quarter pipe is that you're dropping into, or bowl?
Oh, you're testing my memory. That was 3 years ago now. I think it was maybe 8 foot, something like that, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that's
it was on the.
Go ahead, Thomas. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It was on the taller side. It was pretty steep. It wasn't too bad though. And that was a great event.
When I think of everyone dropping in, how scary it is to keep where you don't hit so much your front end first that you land somewhat evenly on all fours instead of where you can endo in front of you. Is that something that now is just natural to you?
Yeah, well, when I first started doing it, what I would do is when I would drop in, I would go quite far out and I'd land pretty flat. So you'd miss a lot of the transition on the actual quarter, which is not what you want to do. You want to try and use as much transition as possible. So really you want to try and get wheels on the ground as early as possible. So now what I'll normally do is push over the edge with my back wheel and immediately push that front end in and just try and get it to where the back wheel never really comes off that much in the first place. And then that way you land almost at the same time.
Yeah.
And those chairs are pretty good about not flipping forward, right? Because they're designed for you guys to have pretty good amount of weight on the front casters.
It depends on the chair. So this chair here is my current competition chair. And what we did when we did this was we took an extra 2 inches out of the main length of the frame. And at first it felt insane. But now it's really good. And it means when you want to lean forward, you can pop the chair forward. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to use the bushings in the forks to get a lot of pop. So you can almost, not ollie, but you can jump flat. So now because of that, I can 180 flat and do lots of different things. So that's been absolutely huge, being able to pop it. And so that's something that we've added now. And Tom's a genius with that stuff.
And I know weight, you think of weight, like our quad rugby chairs, that we played are just so heavy. Do you want a light competition chair? Or do you want heavy or in between? Or what do you want?
Well, obviously, you don't want something super heavy because you got to push it around. But there's a balance where the lighter you go, the more it's going to break. So we're in a spot now where this is probably one of the heavier chairs on the market, I would say. Not the heaviest. Some chairs made out of steel, and obviously that's going to be heavier and that sort of stuff. But it's on the heavier side, but it holds up a lot better. And the parts in it now that, like the forks on the front, have gone to a bigger than a standard wheelchair stem and that sort of stuff. And that's made it a lot more sturdy. So it's a bit of a balance, really, where you don't want something too heavy and it's like annoying to push about, but you don't want something too light where like the second you drop in, the frame's just going to snap. So there's a a mid-range fine line, I'd say.
Have you had a lot of snap parts, broken parts, or not too many? You've been pretty good with.
Well, I mean, it depends on the part. So like on the fork now, on the fork stem itself. So where the fork comes into the actual frame of the chair is on this stem here, and so that used to be the standard. I think it's a half inch, quarter inch, something like that. I'm sure Tom will correct me in the chat. and that's what's on a standard wheelchair. But they break and bend very easily in a skate park. So now Tom started putting the bigger ones on, which are 5/8, I want to say. I'm sure, again, you can correct me in the chat.
I think the normals are 1/2 inch and 5/8 is the bigger, slightly.
Yeah. Or is it 3/4? No, I think it's 5/8. And but yeah, and they hold up a lot better. So now I've not had a problem with one of them in a good while. So there's things like that where it's just made it a lot more sturdy. So parts can break, but every time it does, Tom goes away and he messages me back in a few days, and we'll come up with something and we'll implement it. And 1/2 inch, not 5/8. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's actually the same for rugby chairs. The axle pins, I have 1/2 inch ones, but they do tend to bend a lot, and you do bend a lot of those. And a lot of guys have now people have started. The rugby chairs are now doing the 5/8 with the axle pins, because that's where we take big impact and end up breaking a lot of those are what's the main break point there. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Just comparison.
Yeah. And that's huge, and it's the same thing, when you're hitting it off concrete or coping or anything like that, that 1/2 inch it's going to get bent. So that's been massive and stuff like that, and it's just sort of incremental changes, and now it's just getting better and better and better. And so that's actually Great Stone Action Sports. So that's the park where we train in Manchester.
Nice. That's your local park. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a weird park, and I know we had a competition there, and a lot of riders didn't like it, but it's kind of like a street section in a bowl. So it is a bit peculiar, but once you figure out how to ride it, it's super fun.
Is that one trying to get out of the thing right there, or were you?
No, so that's called a knee grind. So that's where you go up on the front and slide across the ledge. Yeah. So if there was a video, you'd be sliding across that. And that's one of my worldies. So that one's something that we first come up with that, God, 3 years ago now. And then we kind of have a process where it's like we basically just do stupid stuff until it works. And then we call it trick.
Do you have a favorite and a least favorite trick?
Well, that one's probably got to be up there for favorite, and there was another trick, and I think Victor Nelson named it after me. I think he called it the Thomas Grind, and we pulled that out at La Quinta. And at La Quinta they have it's like a hubber on one side, but it's kind of like an A-frame. And I'd gone up the upside, and I did what we call a David slide here in the UK, but I think the correct name is a pushroom slide. And we went up on the side of the chair, slid up it, and then over the edge. And as I started to go down, I flipped my body in and went into a knee grind on the other side of the ledge. And then as we got to the bottom, I put my hands on the ledge, pushed off, and did 270 out. And it was pretty mad. And I've seen it. I was watching, I can't remember why, but I watched the live stream back once, and you can hear like the people around Victor commentating. You can hear them in the background just screaming, "What the fuck was that?" And everybody's just freaking out because nobody's had done anything like that before, and like it was huge. And at La Quinta, when you come back up after you run, you'd have to basically walk through the crowd, and everybody's screaming and stuff. So that's probably got to be one of my favorite tricks, just because obviously it's been, it was a huge part of the career. It's probably why I became world champion. So that's huge for me. And then least favorite trick, I don't know. Hand plants are really fun, but they suck to fall on.
I was gonna say, I think I have a couple hand. Oh, the next picture was a hand plant one. Perfect.
There's another picture that's a bit better than that one.
I have the other hand plant one, I think, too. So
and that, when you're landing them, that's a great trick. When you're not landing them, it's probably my least favorite. But that's another hand plant there. And then there's another picture on that last quarter, which is like basically upside down. And that's it's a fun trick, but when you're not landing them, it's maybe my least favorite.
Those pictures are so impressive. It's so cool to see. I got two questions for you that I need to get answered before we wrap up in a little while here. So if you don't mind me jumping in. One, I want to hear about your foundation, dude. But before you tell me about it, I also just want to compliment you. Being so young, you have such a maturity about you. You're so well-spoken and so passionate and so driven. It's very, very cool to see. It's very inspiring for me to see, but I can just imagine how many younger individuals with EDS or other mobility disorders um, see you and are probably inspired in a very similar way. So I just want to commend you on that, dude. It's just so,
Thank
so
you.
impressive. Tom said it earlier, but you're giving me faith too, in, these future generations. And, I'm just excited to see, who you inspire too and how they continue to push it further.
Oh,
So if you
thank
don't
you.
mind, you did mention earlier telling us a little bit about a foundation that you are starting out here in the US. Can you tell us about that?
Definitely, yeah. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's
Of
that's huge for
course,
me.
dude. Of course, thank
And
you.
yeah, thank you. But yeah, so the foundation. So we were running stuff here in the UK, and we still do to an extent. Um, but we're looking to start up bigger in the States, and yes, it's going to be massive. So the plan is hopefully maybe for this time next year, we'd be looking to do a tour of the States, because we have so many parks and rec departments and local disability organizations and people like that come to us saying, we want to run WCMX programs and clinics, but we have absolutely no idea how to. We don't know what we need, where we would buy it from, how to run it. What do we need? What's the framework that needs to be in place to be able to run this program? So basically, we would go around and work with those organizations, teach them, make sure they can get the equipment they need to run those programs and build that network across the states. Because when we were running stuff here in the UK, we were doing it like every Saturday, and there's only so many Saturdays in the month, and even on the scale of the UK, which is obviously nowhere near the size of America, it's difficult getting from place to place once you start branching out of once a week and you start trying to do 2 times a week and this and that and this and that, and it gets tough. So being able to build that network where we set them up where they can almost run independently of us puts it in a position where we can go around and we don't have to be there for every session, because we can't be running something in LA and that afternoon be in New York. It's just not possible on the size of the States. So we'd like to do that, get a truck and a toy hauler and sort of go around and work with those organizations and yeah, just try and build WCMX as much as possible.
That's
Sounds
so
like
amazing, man. Super inspiring and awesome. Sorry, Bobby, go ahead.
no, that's all right. I was going to say, it sounds like in a form of a nonprofit where you're doing this and inspiring young athletes and young people to get out there and be 16 and be a world champion or 2-time world champion now.
Well,
That's
that's what's so impressive to me is that you're 16 years old, and I don't know how conscious you are of wanting to share this with other people and inspire other people. I don't know, man. I just think that's so freaking cool. You don't
Thank you.
often see that. It's very. I don't want to say like people that aren't doing that are like selfish or self-centered or something, but you don't really see that too much, especially when the spotlight's on you. It's like a lot of people are reveling in it, and here you are, working towards trying to inspire other people to get involved and get into it too. I just think it's super, super amazing. Now
Thank
my
you.
last question, I got to get in. I've been watching like action sports and X Games and all this stuff my whole life, like, and I've seen how they like push the sport. Going from like 900s to whatever they're spinning and doing now and that crazy stuff. And you talked about that a little bit, during the show and a little bit before, how people are pushing the sport further. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you're maybe doing that? Like, is there something you're working towards? Like, or I mean, I imagine you're always trying to push towards crazier tricks and cooler tricks and stuff, but how are you doing that? And how are you like seeing and experiencing that yourself?
Yeah, well, we have a book, and in that book we write down every sort of idea me or Ben have, no matter how crazy. It's like, all right, let's put it in the book, and then we're slowly just going through each idea. Is it possible? Would it even be cool if it was possible? And then from there, just trying to turn that into a trick and see where that goes. And I mean, who knows what will be next? But hopefully something pretty cool. Like one of the last tricks we got from that was what we call a scooter hand plant. So normally in WCMX, hand plant is like on those pictures before. It's where you're putting your hand behind you and going up in the air. Now, when you do a hand plant on a scooter, you do it the other way. So you go out in front of you, put your hand to the wall and turn behind and then back down, and go with your body coming behind you rather than your body coming up past you. And we learned that. We figured out how to do it. We first learned it on a vert wall where it's a lot easier because the transition's basically really short and it's all vertical from there. So it means you don't have to pop. because the wall does everything for you. And then from there, we learned the trick, progressed it, and now we can do it on basically any quarter in a skate park. So things like that, it's where it's basically we have an idea, put it in the book, we spend a long time sort of fucking about with it, trying to see, is it stupid? And then from there, every 100 times it's actually something cool, and we'll turn it into a trick and post it on Instagram.
Have you debuted that trick yet in a competition? Has anybody seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay, cool.
Yeah, we did it first time at it was the park in Germany. What was the town called? It was a very small town in eastern Germany. I can't think what it's called now. But we did it there for the first time. That was October last year, and then we did it again at Birmingham, in Alabama for Worlds.
Wow.
Cool.
Is there ever a park you go to for competition and like they don't quite have what I need for my routine, or do you get ever that? I mean, I can imagine like they just don't have what I need here to perform these tricks.
We probably prepare for the events. No way.
Well, yeah. So like that's a part of our before comps. We'll look at pictures and try and go, okay, what's here. But you build your run around the park. That's kind of what makes it interesting with having different parks. Is it pushes you to be able to adapt to different situations. And sometimes there's a trick where like you really want a quarter that's got this much vert or this high or this sort of whether it's more mellow or more steep or whatever. I mean, you don't always have it. And that's why you want to try and prepare for sort of every circumstance. So you can always make sure you can get your trick down. But we'll normally we build the run for the skate park, so it's hopefully not an issue usually.
No.
Amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Super, super, super cool. We are at our hour. Did you guys have any more questions that you wanted to field before we?
No, I was just going to mention, Tom put in the chat that he built their website, the Finch fabrication website, when he was 14. So you helped build the Finch website too for him. So you guys do have a great relationship. It seems like that's just really cool, man.
Definitely, yeah.
I do have a wrap up, and after we do our sponsors and our shows coming up, maybe you can answer this at the end here. Is what's next for you, Thomas? I mean, you already dominated it twice. Are you going to be like a Michael Jordan out there in the skate park? Sounds like you do have a better goal than just always winning. It's winning at people participating in a sport that you love so much. And I think I caught a lot of that from you at such a young age to make sure this sport grows. And I applaud you for that. And I extend that, you need help. I can't get in there and can't help it. If you need help, Thomas, I'll stand behind you in a crusade, because it sounds like you're a good person, good young man, and excited to see what you have next.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll let you kind of have the last word with that. Kind of, we can hear where you're going, and then anything else you kind of want to leave with the audience. Real quick, we'll go ahead and just do our sponsor shout out and kind of show what we got coming up for the week here real quick, and then give you the floor. So let's go ahead and thank our sponsors, Mobility Professionals and Urology Professionals. Mobility Professionals is a local DME here in Southern California. So if you're anywhere in the Southern California and you need a new wheelchair, commode chair, standing frame, anything like that, give them a call. They'll definitely try to take care of you. Great people with the company, always trying to help, and they do a lot of community events and give back as well. And then their sister company is Urology Professionals. So anywhere in the U.S., you could get your catheter supply shipped directly to your doorstep. And again, great people, great company. They all the same people in the same building, but give them a call. They will help you take care of everything with insurance and get everything set up for you to get your supply shipped directly to you. So thank you. We really appreciate them and appreciate everybody in our chat and everybody that supports the channel as well. So we got coming up this week on tomorrow, Tom, you going to be doing some live cooking? You got anything?
Tomorrow, yeah, every Wednesday, hopefully. We're hanging out. We're doing some cooking, maybe some baking, maybe some drinking. Maybe we'll make a little cocktail action. You have to show up to find out. But yeah, we're going to be doing some adaptive cooking and talking about life skills, independent living skills. If you guys want to come and tune in, come and hang out. It's a great time, I think, hopefully.
I heard bacon and drinking, like cocktails. So I'm thinking you're making like a Bloody Mary of some sort. So that I'm just going
No,
with that.
not bacon, baking.
Oh,
I was
baking.
thinking about doing like some
okay.
banana bread or something like that. But hey, we can maybe fry up some bacon too.
There you
It's not
go.
off the menu. It's not off the menu.
Yeah, so to everybody, make sure to tune in tomorrow, 3:30 Pacific Central Time or Standard Time. I can talk, I swear. But tune in tomorrow. It's a fun show. Join in the chat, hang out. And then on Thursday, we actually just have us coming back. It's the 5th Thursday of the month, so kind of a bonus Thursday. We're going to do just an open discussion, hang out. Come back, hang out with us. If you have any questions, anything you just want to pop in, talk about anything you got going on, love to hear it. So tune in Thursday.
I think we should bring Thomas back for Thursday and just see the wild side in him and let that youth come out and we just party for the whole hour.
You got to make drinks on Wednesday. Keep them around for Thursday.
There you go.
Good, man. I can work on that. I can work on it.
Awesome. So that's what we got coming up for the week, you guys. And make sure to subscribe to the channel. Click that little bell so you get notifications, like all that good stuff. We appreciate any of the support. And thank you, everybody that's been in the chat, engaging and watching. And anybody that watches after, we appreciate all you guys. All right, Thomas. So
what's next? What's coming up?
The ramp is yours, buddy. The ramp is yours.
The ramp.
What's next? Who knows? Geographically, what's next is in the short term, we're going to be down in Bristol next weekend. If you're in the UK, we're going to be running an event with Skateboard GB down at Shreddenham's in Bristol. We have equipment and everything for everything ready, so you can come down and give it a try if you're in the UK. For me, professionally competing, we're going to be in Switzerland, competing at the World Championships and then demoing in Jersey the weekend after. What else? Obviously, the foundation is the main thing here in the States. They're in the States. So that's going to be massive. And if you want to stay up to date, I saw a few people in the chat saying they want to support. Find me on Instagram. Once we officially launch, it'll all be on there. And you'll be able to find it and hopefully maybe come down to a session. I think everything's sort of moving a million miles an hour, but it's exciting. And, I got a philosophy: every opportunity that comes my way, I take it. And, I'm 16. I've not got a wife and kids. I've not really got any responsibilities or bills to pay. So I may as well do some cool stuff now.
There you go. Way to handle it. Way to handle. I love it. I love it, Thomas. You keep it going. You be you.
I super look forward to following your journey, man. Like, I can't wait to see what's coming up in the next couple of years for you, dude. I'm super, super excited. And hopefully hook up here in Cali, too. I know I wasn't at the Sports Fest, but when you come back, we'll have to make sure to link up and hang out for sure.
Definitely. I should be in California next in, maybe December.
Right,
sometime around Christmas, winter. So I'll link up.
Yeah, and Thomas's Instagram is in the description, so make sure you click on that, check him out, follow, so you can check out all the cool stuff he's got going on there. And thank you again, Thomas, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sharing your story with us, and we'll definitely have you back on again sometime. Keep up with your journey. We'll see. Hopefully, you'll be a three-peat champion after this year. You got that puts you into that elite category. I feel like you got to be not too many others. I don't feel like can say stuff.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, man. But either way, man, we really support your journey, and I think everything you're doing is amazing. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you everybody again in the chat for watching. Make sure click back on. We'll see you guys on the chat tomorrow, Tom's chat, and then Thursday we'll be back. So
hit that like button. If you haven't already hit that like button.
See you guys tomorrow if you want to come hang out.
Live to roll.